everyone. My name is Ricky Grove, and you're listening to the And Now for Something Completely Machinima podcast. I'm here with my fellow commentators, Damien Valentine, Tracy Harwood, and Phil Rice. We're happy to be in our third season. This is February, first film of February. Congratulations, everyone. We made it through 2 years. That's really great. We're looking at Tracy's pick for our first week. It's called Backrooms Reunion by Kane Pixels. Tracy, tell us a little bit about this interesting film.
Absolutely. Okay, so there's a backstory to this film, which I want to share with you before I sort of get to the film itself. And that backstory is that it originates from a creepypasta thread, apparently posted in 2019. Have you heard of creepypasta?
No.
Yeah, no. Oh, well, Ricky, I think you're missing something here.
I think I am.
They are. Creepypastas are horror-related urban legends that have been shared around the internet through various fora. It's a term that seemed to have emanated on 4chan around 2007, and it's a portmanteau of the words creepy and copypasta, which stands for viral, copied, and pasted text. Now, this particular thread was posted anonymously. The post included a photograph, and it said, if you're not careful and you no-clip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the back rooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights at maximum hum buzz, and approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented, empty rooms to be trapped in. God save you if you hear something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has heard you. Okay, so there you go. That was the anonymous post. And unsurprisingly, it has ever since become a massive collaborative writing project, picked up by literally hundreds of creators.
Wow.
Including the Backrooms game. So it's been developed into a game, which of course is in the genre of escape horror for those that like to be really creeped out and jump scared, because it has this kind of scary monster in it that looms in the gloomy darkness. Now, in the game environment, what you've got are corridors and rooms, all of which look like they've not seen the light of day for years. And there are very, very few features that you can kind of use to help you find your way around. And it's got this kind of mono yellow tinge to it that you see in the film. This sort of nasty 1970s wallpaper office kind of carpeting, and these sort of you remember those nasty suspended ceilings with the polystyrene tiles that you used to get?
Right.
And
drop
those
ceilings, I think.
Absolutely. And those old lights, those old fluorescent lights, I actually probably still got one in my office here. Which only appear to work in some of these spaces. And the soundscape is really described in that post is what you've got in this game. And every single corridor looks exactly the same. But the further you kind of go into that environment, the more you are disorientated. And what's super interesting is people that have been playing this game have said that you can apparently smell the mustiness of it, which is weird. So on top of that, you've got all these sort of strange noises, but you don't know what they are, and you also don't really want to find out what they are. Anyway, there's now literally hundreds of backroom memes on the web, tons of videos, and the current thread, of which this film is one, has kind of dominated in the last year, particularly by this creator whose name's Kane Parsons, otherwise known as Kane Pixels. The first one he did is called Found Footage, Backrooms Found Footage. And guess what? It's been viewed over 49 million times, with a story that reportedly goes back to 1996, which doesn't feel quite right with the age of what you're seeing. But I'll put a link to that so you can have a look at that too. And if you haven't seen it, I would suggest having a quick look at it. In this particular film, which is Reunion, what you see are the intrepid team going back into those back rooms to try and find some of their previously lost colleagues. And you kind of follow them going through the space wearing these biohazard suits because I don't know why, but they just wear them. Why wouldn't you, I suppose? And it kind of concludes in a rather unexpected way, which I won't spoil for you. Now, the creators use mocap in this, which is why I think the movement looks really good. It doesn't look either game-like or animated in any way, really. And I think what you can see is how the aesthetic sort of approach to it is also quite interesting. There's not really much of a dialogue. Stories driven by sort of heavy breathing and actually really quite naturalistic sort of behavior, which I think is really intriguing and really interesting with how it's done. But I think the most interesting part to it is this kind of background story to it. Anyway, I've been wanting to share this emerging thread with you. I wanted to share it with you all of last year. But for whatever reason, I just didn't think it stood up to some of the other things that I actually picked last year. But now I think it's a really good time to show you, because I think it's probably come to the end of the current sort of viral cycle that it's in. This sort of last little reunion thing seems to sort of conclude it for me a little bit, I think. But I think it is the viral explosion of it, and the with all the videos, the memes, all the different responses, all the hyping that's gone on around it, around that sort of original post. I mean, it is a genuinely co-created, co-concocted, if you like, story. So what did you think?
I have a couple of questions for you. Is Backrooms a game?
Yes, it is a game.
It's an actual game.
It's an actual game. It was created, I think, as a meme on the back of the thread that was on a 4chan thread.
And Reunion was shot inside of this game.
I believe so, or at least the scenes were extracted. Maybe it was made in Unreal. I can't remember reading that bit actually. I think it was made in Unreal. Come to think about it.
Okay, because I was absolutely convinced that this was all live action.
Really?
So in fact, my note is, why did you choose a live action film for a machinima podcast?
I don't believe
that's how convincing that was to me.
I had the exact same questions. Why is this? Have I clicked on the right link?
No, it's not live action. I think it's Unreal.
Wow. Well, some live action there.
Some live action, but it's not. It's Unreal.
Yeah, the opening shot's live action with the guy in the science, yeah, outside. That kind of throws it off.
Yeah, but it's not.
Wow.
But
if that's the case, then it's amazing. And the other question is, when did the game come out?
Yeah, I mean, the actual thread was posted in, I can't remember, somewhere around mid-2019. I think the game wasn't launched until 2020.
Okay.
So it's not that old.
Because there was a novel published by Jeff Vandermeer, part of a trilogy called Annihilation, in which there's a strange zone in which people go into this zone to recover others that have gone into this zone and have been lost.
Right.
And they end up having themselves discombobulated. It was one of the main novels that revived the weird fiction movement that's been going on. So I suspect this people latched on to that idea and just applied that notion to Backrooms because you have a perfect environment for that. So for me, it leans more towards weird cinema. Weird, which is an element of horror. You don't know what you're getting. There's a looming threat. Sometimes it's ambiguous. You don't know where it is. The sound is extremely important. The atmosphere is extremely important. The language isn't dialogue so much as it is kind of technical chat, and you feel this mood of unease, of weirdness, what's that term that Freud used? Umlichkeit, I think was the word. Uncanny.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote an essay about the uncanny, and I think that's what this works out as. What a fantastic film! Now that I know that it's machinima, what a interesting film.
Yeah, he's used he's used the Rococo Smart Suit for the animations. It's made in Unreal Engine.
Wow.
Yeah.
The game, by the way, is on Steam. It's called the Backrooms game, and it's free.
Yeah.
Yay!
And you can buy a DLC content pack to support the game for $2.99.
Now that's getting out of hand.
In that may just be a donation vehicle. I'm not sure. And the publication date on Steam is July 25th, 2019.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Now, that doesn't mean that's when it first came out. They've also got a website for the game, backroomsgame.io.
Yeah.
So for those who want to, I've never even heard of any of this.
No, I neither.
The only what's the term for these? Creepypasta?
Creepypasta, yeah. I'd not even heard of it either.
The only creepypasta story, now that I know what that term means, that I've ever heard of is, I assume that Slender Man.
Yeah.
That falls into this category too.
Yeah,
I know that emerged on 4chan as well. So
yeah. And I've just looked up.
I don't think I want to play the game. It's a little too much for me, but I'm sure there will be people who will want to.
So how did that work?
The original thread was posted on the 14th of May, 2019.
Okay.
So you can see how quickly that took off. 49 million views on this, though.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah.
How did they technically do that? If it was shot in Unreal, how did they use the game? Did they take the characters from and port them to Unreal?
I think they've just made the characters up. My guess is you can buy those characters on the marketplace. Somebody in a hazmat suit.
I see.
And then just sort of, I mean, it wouldn't even be that technical to do it, would it?
Right. You're right.
And
the game multiplayer, by the way. You can get in with your friends and get lost in the back rooms.
That's true. This might be an actually very interesting machinima platform for those who are looking for something new to create movies in.
I think we ought to film a future episode
in the back
rooms.
All of us in the back rooms. Yeah.
Okay. That'll be creepypasta to me.
Yeah.
So now, you're saying pasta, P-A-S-T-A, like creepy pasta?
Creepy pasta. Horror
so like
related.
If you got a big bowl and there's suddenly shadows in the pasta. And...
Yeah. A portmanteau. I didn't even know
come
that
out of the pasta at you.
Term existed, if I'm honest. But you know what? 4chan is one of those platforms that I never really followed. I don't know if you guys did.
And they come up with their own terms for things, and it's a weird thing. This film just getting past what it was made in. Getting past what it was made in. I mean, okay, so it was Unreal. That's we already know Unreal can do anything really in the right hands. So, but what I love, I think part of what obscured it, and for me, I thought that I was like struggling to find where is the animated content in this movie. Genuinely, that's what I thought. I thought the same thing that you two did, Ricky and Damien. It's like, what is this? And I knew that it had to have something, or you wouldn't have picked it, Tracy. But I couldn't do it. Well, part of what obscured that is that VHS noise put over it to give it a found footage feel. That's just a plugin that they've used, obviously. Brilliant choice. The 4:3 aspect ratio, if you notice on YouTube, which is 90s footage would look like. Now that didn't make me think it was real, but I admire that little detail of, okay, if we're going to imitate found footage from the 90s, let's really do so. And so it does. It kind of looks like VHS in a way, and I think that grain really obscured the, most animated things of this nature. Everything's so clean. It's hard to mistake certainly for old footage. but even for, it's almost too pristine.
Yeah.
Maybe there's repetition in the textures to where you pick up on, okay, this is a rendered world. I didn't get any of that. Like, I was really struggling with, there were a couple moments where I thought, oh, okay, that's animated, but it was fleeting, so just an amazing achievement and wonderful backstory. Yeah. Wonderful.
Ingenious. The motion capture for the actor is fantastic. The bloom effect on the lights, flashlights and things like that were extremely effective.
Yeah.
I honestly was convinced that it was live action. I was going to take you to task for live action film. I was really looking forward to dressing you down, but now I look like a fool.
Well, don't you think Unreal is just such an amazing platform that it allows people to do this kind of thing, though?
There you go. Look at the first film from last month, your fantastic Voice in the Hollow. You did that was in Unreal. It's hard to believe that the same engine could create this film.
Yeah.
So I watched this last night, and I watched it on my phone because my desktop was rendering something. So my phone was the only screen I had available. I was really tired. And I was also convinced, as I've always said, this is real. And I was thinking, surely this is the wrong video that's been posted in our little group chat that we have to share our selections. But I watched it because I was kind of intrigued by what this is. So I watched it again earlier today when I was a bit more awake on my proper desktop screen, so I could have a better look, because I thought this has to be animated, and because I was watching on such a tiny screen, I missed the giveaways. And there was a couple of things that stood out to me. There's a scene quite early on where there's a trolley with this robot drone thing on it, and there's a person standing behind. If you look really closely at her hair, you can see that it's not very realistic, but it very quickly, she's obscured, so you don't get a chance to really see her clearly. I think it's another character that appears like that. But having the characters in the hazmat suits, I found that if you want photorealism, you can do a good job with faces. But if it's a completely covered character, they've got a helmet on, or in this case, they've got masks, gas masks and hazmat suits on, you can hide the imperfections, because all you're seeing is the outer protective layer.
Yeah.
So you get you get some really good mocap, and you set the textures right on the clothing, you can make it absolutely perfect. And I think the other thing is having such a bland environment. Like there's no texture on the walls because it's all painted sort of a monotone color. You don't get any imperfections that would give away, like Phil, you said, repeating textures, because it is just exactly the same.
Right.
And the aging the footage, like you said, that also covers any imperfections, which I think the whole
very smart choices there.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at a kind of theme, of our films from a meme from January and into February, we're talking about people who are very skilled with the craft of making the world that they're creating believable.
Yeah, not like Interloper, like we covered a few weeks ago.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. It's a great follow-on to last week's, actually, because Interloper.
Or if you go with Team Fortress 2, Law-Abiding Engineer.
Yes,
the compositing
exactly.
involved in that is incredible. It's a really, really interesting choice, and I didn't know you've been holding on to it for so long. I'd like to contact Kane Pixels or someone in the Backrooms movement to find out more about it, and then perhaps do an interview or a blog post on it. So that will be my job for
February,
for the future, for the February.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes.
That was a really good find.
Yeah, it's a great find. I'm going to definitely check Creepypasta from now on. All right, that's it for everybody. Thank you, Tracy, for coming up with such an interesting pick and kicking off the month of February. Make sure you contact us if you know more about the Backrooms phenomena, the meme, or Creepypasta at talk@completely machinima.com. We also have an interesting blog that puts out a lot of machinima related technology news. Tracy has put a lot of time and energy into that, so it's worth your time. Thank you all. Thank you, Damien and Tracy and Phil, for your thoughts on it. I'm Ricky Grove signing out. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.